Hey everyone, welcome back to The Moment. It's your old pal Meredith Lynch. I've been up since 5:30 a.m. fighting with Katie Miller, and I am ready to talk about so much. And I'm so glad because, as always, I have my wonderful co-host, partner in crime, Rebecca Sananès is in the house. And y'all, you first met her in TikTok on, I would say, 2020. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're going back. This is old school TikTok.
Yep.
Mrs. Frazzled. She uses her background as a teacher, a mom, and a political content creator to help people understand how education policy shapes our lives. There's no one quite like her. She's also like, let's just give a second to the comedic chops of Mrs. Frazzled because but today on the show, we have some less funny stuff, unfortunately. Friend of the show, just because I adore him and so does Rebecca, Don Lemon has been taken into federal custody along with journalist Georgia Fort for their reporting on a protest in a Minneapolis church earlier this month. The Senate has delayed DHS funding deadline by 2 weeks. The government won't shut down while they negotiate reforms for ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. The FBI raids a Georgia operations center as part of their investigation into allegations that the 2020 election was stolen. By the way, Tulsi Gabbard was there? I don't know. And if we have some time, we'll get into Melania's movie debut, which is hitting theaters today. Will it be the comeback for movie theaters? And later, Representative Jimmy Gomez of California stops by to talk about the future of ICE funding and what the administration is up to for the elections and more. Y'all, welcome to The Moment. It's good to have you here.
It's The Moment. Mrs. Frazzled, you are on mute, my friend.
I know. I'm like, I don't want to jump. You're doing so good. I just am watching. I'm like in awe.
Wow, she's so comforting. I will never I remember in 2020 you being like, Donald, we need to use our indoor voice. Like, it's like such an old school Mrs. Frazzled. Like, that's how we need to be talking to this freaking fool.
I know. It really does have a lot of application that's very useful. And people are like, I really miss when that was like the bulk of your content. And I'm like, me too. Me too, you guys.
I know. That's the thing. I'm like, listen, I liked it when you were just eating in your car too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're an OG. You're a real fan.
Oh,
that's real.
Listen, you guys, I stan a kindergarten teacher. Fun fact, I'm still friends with my kindergarten teacher.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yes. I was kicked out of one kindergarten and sent to another. And she was like, oh God, this is going to be a problem child. And then she was like, you're the nicest little kid. You're a great kid.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah. Mrs. Hoffman, wherever you are right now, forever. You are a forever queen.
Mrs. Hoffman.
Yeah. But yeah, Rebecca, I want to kick it to you first because you are our journalist. You went to J school. You did the things you know about the First Amendment. And we woke up this morning and Vienna, our executive producer, who's on the East Coast, so she's up and at 'em before us. She sent us this thing that Don Lemon had been arrested. And I want to know, like, first, I want to just know from both of you, like, what was your reaction? And like, then Rebecca, like, what can we expect? Mrs. Frazzled, I just want to know what you thought first. Like, what was your quick thought?
I was just horrified. I mean, I literally woke up and saw the news and I was like, they have arrested 2 Black people, a woman, a gay man. Like they are starting with this like journalist arrest of just it's like the playbook they always use when they're going to do horrible shit. And I'm just like, I woke up and I was like frazzled, for lack of a better word.
Frazzled, yeah.
Part of the brand. So
I believe, like, on our text chain, my genuine reaction was, holy shit. Like, Vienna sent that to me and I was like, oh, like, I've been like a little bit freaking out all morning. I think, like you said, I went to journalism school. I like did sort of like old school NPR. Like, I did it like from like the barest bones of journalism. And like, I kind of grew up I grew up in my career to be like, the different, like, when they started arresting journalists is when it's over. You know what I mean? Like
What is-
that
but
was
can we
sort of
just talk about for a second, Rebecca, what the
Yeah.
First Amendment is and what it isn't? Because I will say this, I think there's a lot of confusion for lay people on what the First Amendment is. The First Amendment does not mean that Meredith Lynch can say whatever she wants about Bethany Frankel. And I learned that the hard way, folks. So what does the First Amendment actually protect us from?
Well, it's freedom of speech, period. But it can be like contested in all sorts of different ways, right? Like you can't defame people, you can't libel people, you can't incite violence, you can't do hate crimes. But
Right.
like then you're taken to court for those things. But the
Sure.
First Amendment like includes voting, it includes your right to protest. It includes the rights of journalism, like free and fair speech. And like, it's hard to imagine, like I was reporting in Cuba for a long time, and Cuba does not have a First Amendment. And so like when I went to Cuba, this is like kind of a longer story, but like I had two options. You can either register with the government as a journalist, because the government controls the journalists. And that gives you the ability to get into places like hospitals, which are also government run, but then they control what you can say, what you can see, what you can do. And like, that's not what it's like in the United States. In the United States, you don't need the government to approve what you're reporting on, where you go, who you talk to. And in this specific case, these two journalists, Georgia Fort and Don Lemon, went with a group of protesters into a church. And the protesters went in and they were just sort of following them, which that is a journalist's job. And by the way, I remember seeing this, Don Lemon interviewed I believe it was the pastor of the church who they were going after. And like, I'm sorry, it's not trespassing if you then get to interview the person there, right? Like that's not what it is. And like this whole thing, I mean, I have no doubt Don Lemon has great lawyers. He's extremely visible. I think that he will get out of this, but just the fact that they are using their resources to overstep in this way. And by the way, like as a reminder, the FBI went after a Washington Post reporter maybe 2 weeks ago now. They went into her house to seize documents. They can't do that either, and it's just like, it's all such a degradation. Like to me, I was thinking about it and I was like, we've just, degraded journalism so much in the past 10 years. Like local journalism is like completely underfunded. And the fact that these are two independent journalists too, is like, when I went into journalism, the idea was also like you had an institution behind you. And so you weren't as susceptible to this type of thing. You had like lawyers around you, and like more and more that's going away. And so for people like Don Lemon, who has the resources and visibility to fight that, like he is an institution in himself in a lot of ways. But that's different than this woman, Georgia Fort, who like when she comes out of this, I'm like, where do I go donate to your legal fund? Because that's one that I'm really scared about. And it's just chilling. It's just like the people who are going, I mean, like even me is like, it's like, then you start to go out and you think, okay, let me go through the checklist in my head. Like, am I genuinely prepared for agents to come to my house? Like that is now a possibility. And it's whether or not they end up in jail or not, which like I said, I don't think they will. It's more like people are going to really think about whether they can be out there. They're like, can I afford this? Can my children live without me if I go for a day and I get detained? Like it is really just chilling to everybody, and like should be talked about that way.
Well, from what I understand, the next step here is that Don was out in LA covering the Grammys too. So like that's the other piece of it. Like he's not, I mean, I'm sure that he's always on the lookout for like, and we do think that ICE is, I mean, they are ramping up their presence here in Los Angeles, but he was here to cover the Grammys. He will now go before a judge. And I guess my question is like, do we think that any judge who's like halfway good at their job is gonna say like, oh yeah, this person is like a danger, we can't like release them? Like what do we think comes next here? Does he get put on bail? Like what happens?
I think that they probably release him and then like start like the court proceedings and all that. I can't imagine if they give him bail, it's going to be so low because like he's not a flight risk, right? Like where's he going to go? He's a public figure. Like bail is usually there. I mean, one is like a punishment system, but two, for flight risks. So like I kind of think he'll get out, but I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I want to hear from Mrs. Frazzled because I feel like you make this content where you talk about the administration in a variety of ways. Sometimes it's comedic, sometimes it's more serious and sharing policy. And like when you woke up this morning, did it sound off any alarms for your own content?
Well, I think for a while there's been like concerns about them coming for content creators next. And I mean, I just think they come for journalists first, and it's just horrible. This is literally the fascist playbook.
Right.
I think alarm bells have been going off for a long time for me, honestly. And when I see news like this, one of the first things I wonder is, will this set off alarm bells for anybody new who hasn't been maybe as clued in? And I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take for people to wake up.
We have a clip of Georgia Ford that I think would be helpful to play because I feel like she's more in the boat that the three of us probably feel like we could be in. So let's go ahead and we're going to cue that clip.
At my door right now, they're saying that they were able to go before a grand jury sometime, I guess, in the last 24 hours, and that they have a warrant for my arrest. I've talked to my attorney, and I'm being advised to go with them, I guess, down to Whipple. And my children are here. They're impacted by this. This is all stemming from the fact that I filmed a protest as a member of the media. We are supposed to have our constitutional right of the freedom to film, to be a member of the press. I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press because now federal agents are at my door arresting me for filming the church protest a few weeks ago again.
Do we know where she's based?
Minneapolis.
She said Whipple, so she must be.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a local independent journalist in Minneapolis. Okay. And like I've been following her this past month. Like I didn't know her before this month, but she's been like very on the ground and like clearly an apt journalist. And like I said, local journalism has just been like decimated over the past decade. And so the fact that she's found a way, and local journalism is so important. And like I could go on like a whole rant on why I think part of the problem in our country is that we only have local news. I mean, only have national news now and no local news. But like I can guarantee that is not a wealthy woman. You know, like I can guarantee that is a working woman who works for her money. And like the thought of somebody coming to your door in the middle of the night or first thing in the morning for you doing your job, probably for not a lot of money, is terrifying. Like I said it before on the show, is like whenever I feel like the news is particularly awful and fascist, I'm like, well, you know what? Nobody, like I just spent an hour ranting about how much I hate about what's going on and nobody's come and knocked on my door so far. And this morning I was like, yeah, but maybe not, you know?
Yeah, I think one of the things I keep thinking about is, you know, Trump probably loves nothing more than the fact that local journalism has been decimated, right?
Oh,
and that,
for sure.
you know, that was happening long before Trump, to be honest, right? Like, you know, that has to do with funding sources and my old friend private equity and many other things, and consolidation and having people like Jeff Bezos at the helm of big, you know, media conglomerates. But I keep thinking of that part in Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum says life finds a way. And the thing about journalism is it doesn't stop. So you can decimate local journalism, but people will still do it. So this is the way they're going to do it. You can decimate even, you know, to some extent, mainstream media has been
for
decimated.
sure.
Large,
Yeah,
you know, so it's
sure.
not just local journalism, but you're never going to stop people. And this has been since time immemorial of getting out there. And this is literally information sharing. And
Yeah.
you're never going to stop that. So I just think that's something to think about. Like, it doesn't, like, Trump, I know you're the number one viewer of the moment. But like, you can keep pushing this down, but it's not going to stop. Like, it's
That's
fucking
right.
whack-a-mole. We will come back. We will find a new way. The information will continue to be shared. But we don't like it. So, you know what we like kind of don't mind though, is
Tell
that
me.
the Senate Democrats have reached a deal with Republicans and the White House to pass 5 spending bills that would fund parts of the government and avoid a shutdown. The biggest point of contention here is the Department of Homeland Security is not fully funded. Instead, lawmakers agreed to a short 2-week stopgap measure while negotiations continue over guardrails for ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. But this means that things are not resolved. They're just delayed. And so, first of all, I want to ask you both, like, were you surprised that the Senate ended up like where it is with this and not going to a shutdown?
No.
And you weren't surprised.
I
No,
want
I
to
was-
tell Frazzled to go because she said in the chat, I have deeply unpopular opinions about this, and we are here for the unpopular
We
opinion.
love it.
Okay, and I have asked, for the record, I have asked 9 people, was this a secret? Am I the only one that knows this information? And nobody answers me, so I'm going to just go ahead and tell you. I was fully aware that they were on board for giving this $10 billion before Preddy was murdered. They were like on the news. Patty Murray even was like, yeah, we're going to do reforms. Cory Booker was doing the press tour. We're going to do reforms. We're going to do body cams. And they just need the $10 billion
QR
so
code.
that they can do it.
The
They just do
QR code.
Ooh. So then Preddy's murdered, right? So
Yeah.
at that point, they've murdered. And really, people are like, well, the public outcry was the turning point. I wish it was, you guys. I know that the actual turning point was the fact that Republicans then were like, this is fucked up because, you know, this guy was it's an open carry state. He had a permit. Like, he was a legally openly carrying guy. So they were like, it's on, we can't make that phone into a gun. So then there were 7 Republicans that were going to flip. They were going to vote with Dems to block it. Then Bovino's pulled out of Minnesota or whatever. And they then were like, well, you know what? Maybe we can reform ICE. Maybe we can just go back. And then all of a sudden it's, well, we're going to do a 2-week break and we're going to, at the end of the 2 weeks, have a vote. Well, in this 2 weeks, what they're trying to do is get these like guardrails, quote unquote, for ICE in the thing. And I bet you anything that Republicans are going to put those guardrails into this thing. They're going to then in midterms say, look, we put reforms in. We tried to put guardrails on ICE. We worked with Democrats across the aisle on this. They're going to be the ones that get the benefit. And then who's going to enforce the guardrails for the Dems? Pam Bondi?
Right.
Bondi? I'm sorry. Like, even if we get everything we fucking ask for, that's not going to happen. So I'm like, people are like, no, but take the win, Fraz, take the win. And I'm like, it's not a win. It was never a win. And it's a cave. Like, it just is. So that's my deeply unpopular opinion. And I respect everybody can have other feelings.
I don't think it's unpopular at all. I think you just said exactly like, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Fraz. I think that was it. Sorry, go Meredith. I just want to just like co-sign.
No, I agree. I'm like, I think it's a really good point. And it's also like, how about we just abolish ICE? Like, that's, I mean, that's
Meredith.
Just
I also
abolish
like-
it.
Yes. Or at least say you're going to.
Like, we have such a short attention span as a country. Like, the fact that like the Alex Preddy thing finally got the attention of celebrities and
Right.
I guess Republicans, and like, great, but like, use this moment, like a 2-week stopgap. In 2 weeks from now, everybody's gonna be paying something attention. Like, and I do feel like the Trump administration is really smart at one thing, which is like attention. And they are like, Minnesota is like, terrible things are still happening, but it's like they're trying to calm it down over there. And it's like they're losing their political momentum, I guess, is like in 2 weeks, Alex Preddy's name will be like number 14 on the list of things that people are talking about. And
They're
like,
releasing
what?
3 million Epstein files today.
Are they?
We're moving.
We're moving. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like we're moving. Don Lemon is being, you know, like it is a nonstop train. And like my fear with this is like in 2 weeks from now, it's going to be like, okay, we got some, they're going to have QR codes on their jackets. Like we need the political momentum. And then like what, like we know that somebody is going to get killed again. We also know, by the way, I just really quick, and I know we have to move on, but like the picture of Liam Ramos, the little boy who was used as bait in Minneapolis with the little bunny hat, the picture of him in the Dilley detention center that Joaquin Castro and Jasmine Crockett went to visit. Like, this is a sick baby. This is sick. This is so freaking sick. I'm working on my taxes right now and it makes me freaking ill. And like the momentum is here now. I don't know. I'm like losing my mind. Sorry.
I'm just a little triggered that Rebecca's already working on her taxes. I think that's.
Sorry. Let me be clear. I'm working on my taxes from last year.
Oh, phew. Okay. All
I'm
right.
working
Thank
on
God.
my taxes that I fucked up last year.
Okay. Never mind. I mean,
yeah.
Listen, I never know if I'm going to open up.
You don't have to worry. It's like this is like I'm in a deep hole over here. Don't worry.
Well, I think, we've got a lot of questions then that we can ask for our guests that we have today. Congressman Jimmy Gomez represents California's 34th congressional district in the heart of Los Angeles. He is the founder and chair of the Congressional Dads and Renters Caucuses. As a proud renter, definitely important to me. He serves on the House Ways and Means and Intelligence Committees. Representative Gomez, welcome back to the show, or welcome to the show.
Oh, Representative
He's
Gomez,
conducting business.
He's working.
Honestly, like fair. He's got things to do.
I think
I like their hat.
We'll have him in a second.
Yeah, because I got a really important first question for him. And,
oh, really?
He might be prepping to answer that. I got to be honest with you.
I mean, like he came in and like this is part of the thing of this show is like whatever's happening. Like I do feel, like I come in a little bit hot, like it's like, but like as we should is like what I've always said about the show. What we've said is like we're here to like process with you, and if you don't see those pictures of Liam Ramos like sick in his dad's arms that we're paying for, if you're not sick that independent journalist in Minnesota just got arrested for doing her job, like anyways, we're coming in. I do think we have Representative Gomez.
Yes, I think we're going to welcome him right back to the show.
Meanwhile, in the background, my daughter is playing with the Little Mermaid bubble wand from Disneyland, and I can hear the blaring sound. And I'm like, the juxtaposition of being a parent and facing the world that we are in is so like very shocking. It's like, Mommy will make your snack in a minute. Someone got murdered in the streets.
How are you dealing with that? Like, I do wonder, like,
not well.
Yeah.
Your kids are so young. Like,
sorry, go ahead, Meredith.
Nothing. Like, your kids are so young that it's like there's not much you can tell them, right? Like, that's what I would think. There's not much that you can tell them. So, like, how do you sort of navigate on these days where, like, Alex Preddy, like, do you say to them like, oh, mommy's just a little sad, or there's just a lot going on, or what do you say? Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, like, I have been very weepy. I have been very like not great. I think I talk about it a lot. I have OCD, so I get really stuck on certain things, and I get very like in cycles. So like on the days when I feel so fortunate that I can work from home, because on days when shit is really bad, I can just be like, I got to pivot to working on something else, and we're gonna like vibe in the, I don't know, couch. We're gonna hang out and like try to process, and then get back to work as soon as possible. And yeah, it does make me get behind, but like at the same time, it's like the world's on fire, and I have 3 kids under 4 that I'm like, trying to keep them well. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just.
I know. I'm trying to remember like the first time my parents talked to me about something that was happening on the news that like, like that was important.
Yeah. What do you think it was?
I do remember like asking my mom, like, Have you ever heard of OJ Simpson?
Me too. I was gonna say OJ Simpson was probably my first. Yep.
And
I think
I remember my mom being like, yes. And I'm like, do you think that he murdered his wife? And my mom was like, yes. And it's very sad. And I was like,
Oh my
like,
God.
I remember being surprised that my mom even knew about OJ Simpson. But also I remember my mom reading an article about, and you know what? I'm not going to say this before. I'll just say my mom, I just didn't think that she would have known anything about sex. I just assumed that like we were so Catholic that I was like, I don't think she knows what she's talking about here. She just dropped a term that there's no way she knows.
You have no idea what she's talking about.
But we're gonna bring Representative Gomez right back in before things get really weird. We're bringing him back up to the stage. Representative Gomez, here you are. We're so happy you're here.
Hey, Congressman.
Hello. Good morning. Or is it morning? I don't know where you're at.
We're all
morning enough. Be
yeah.
so
We're in LA.
honest.
Oh,
Please
same
tell
here.
me the truth. Were you a minute or so, were we having technical difficulties because you were buying tickets to Melania, the documentary?
Well, no, because I already had them purchased a while back. You know,
You
I
were
bought
the
them.
one person who pre-purchased them.
Exactly. And I wasn't accepting free tickets as a member of Congress. I wanted to make sure that they got my money.
Sure. Yeah.
Of course.
And okay.
So mad that once again Don Lemon is overshadowing her. Like all week she must have been fuming that she's like, first Alex Trey, now Don Lemon. Can't Melania get a freaking break, you know?
Listen,
No.
if I were her, I would have just stayed quiet, stayed in New York. But there's so much happening right now, and we're really grateful to have you with us today. Thank you for being with us. We know you have a lot going on. We want to talk a little bit about what's happening with this DHS funding. There is this 2-week stopgap to negotiate some reforms to ICE and Customs and Border Patrol operations. We were coming in hot right before you joined us. And we're kind of, one of the things we really want to know is like, what is actually on the table in terms of reforms and how likely are those reforms to happen?
Well, first, with the Senate, you actually never know. So right now they said that they struck a deal. I was just kind of getting caught up on what happened. They struck a deal with the White House. All of a sudden, there's some senators that have an objection. So in order to carry out their plan, they need all 100 senators to agree. So it's in itself difficult. So we have to see what it's about. I think you kind of saw some of the outlines earlier. They want to remove the mask. They want to get rid of the searchless, the warrantless searches. They want to put some more restrictions on. But it really all depends because that's going to be where all the sticking points are going to line up. It's good that there was already some Republicans that were saying that they were going to go along with some restrictions, but you can trust them as far as you can throw them. And, and that includes some of the people on our side, like John Fetterman. He's a big dude. You can't toss him very far.
I was like, get that man into a closet, give him a pizza. Like do not let that man out.
Next thing he's threatened to burn his hoodie, and maybe he'll go along with the Democrats.
What happens if? Oh, go ahead, Ms. Frazzled. You go.
No, I was just affirming. Exactly.
What happens if, like, a 2-week deadline? To me, it just seems like they're kicking the can down the road, and like eventually they will give them this money. By the way, ICE has like more money than any military, I believe, other than the United States and China. Like they already have so much money. What happened? Like, why 2 weeks? And what happens at the end of 2 weeks? The Democrats are just sort of like, okay.
Well, there's actually 4 parties in the Congress, in the U.S. Congress. There's the House Republicans, House Democrats, Senate Republicans, and Senate Democrats, and those parties don't always see eye to eye. So people always try to think it's just one party that they all meet. No, I barely see any of the senators. They barely see any of us. That's just the nature of our system of government. We used to have a saying: the Republicans might be our opposition, but the Senate is the enemy. And so that is kind of something that. That's a saying from when I was in the legislature, but applies just as much at the federal level. So I think what's going to happen is the severity of what occurred and what's occurring across the country, but especially with the murder of Renee Good and Alex Pretty, that has really hit a lot of them hard. Folks that were going to vote on the package to pass it on through, those all of a sudden they stopped. And I think you also see a lot of the searches of homes that bothers a lot of Republicans, a lot of libertarian Republicans. The fact that that you have police officers from across the country that are now also getting targeted just because of the color of their skin when they're off duty, that is bothering a lot of them. So I think they can work something out, but it's all devil's going to be in the details. And what could happen, there's two different pots of money, right? The 175 billion that was passed in the one big beautiful bill, that is basically a slush fund. It has no restrictions. It has just big giant pots of money going into them. The White House says that there's whatever we pass in appropriations doesn't apply to those. So good example, when I got denied going into a detention center, originally they said that it was just because they could deny me. We won in court because appropriations law passed a few years back and continuously passed, said that they can't use any federal funds to prohibit a member of Congress from doing a spot inspection. Well, now they're saying that that piece of legislation, that one segment, because it's in an appropriations bill, doesn't apply to the one big beautiful bill, that 175 billion. So what they're trying to do in the Senate is apply these new restrictions not only to appropriated money, but also the money in the one big beautiful bill. So it's going to be in these bills, they're so massive, you have to kind of really look at the fine details, or what you think you're getting, you might not be getting. And anytime in Congress, if you don't feel bad about any vote, then you're not paying attention, because you're getting screwed somewhere on some piece of legislation at some point. It's just a matter of fact. It's hard to necessarily pinpoint all the loopholes that are in any piece of spending legislation. So we'll see what they come up with. But I think the senators are committed. I think this has become almost a third rail. I'd be surprised if they can don't come up with something that makes sense. Doesn't mean that all the House Democrats are going to vote for it, but it might just get out of the Senate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question is, ICE has a time-honored tradition of what, 2003? That's how long ICE has been around,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Why can't we just, and maybe this is me with my 11th grade civics education. Can't we just get rid of ICE and come up with a whole new way of doing this? Because it seems like it is inherently not a system that works.
I think that's where everything is heading, to be honest with you, but not just ICE, the entire immigration and enforcement apparatus. So people were just going, targeting ICE. ICE isn't just the problem. It's
Right.
also the fact that they're using CBP, Department of Homeland Security agents, like all sorts of people. Like remember, they're bringing them in from all their traditional rules and responsibilities and focusing them on immigration enforcement. So the guy that shot Pretty was CBP. The person that shot Renee Good was ICE. So and oftentimes CBP are the cowboys that are being actually more disruptive. They're the ones that are being more violent. They're the ones that are actually doing a lot of the damage. So in my opinion, in order to get a handle on this, you have to target the money. First, get rid of that $175 billion, and then go after the policies and the legislation that allow for this kind of behavior. So, but eventually, I think you're going to have to get rid of ICE, and then you're going to have to redo CBP. I mean, like ICE should be focused on the worst of the worst, investigating sex traffickers, investigating drug traffickers, investigating potential terrorists. That's what they should be focusing, not on targeting people who are working at taco stands or fruit stands or restaurants or car washes. They should be going after the worst. Children. They should be going after the worst of the worst, but that's not what they're doing. And that's because also you have Stephen Miller, who's just a white nationalist, who's saying we're going to just go after everybody. So if we want to deal with this, not only are you going to have to deal with ICE, but you're going to have to deal with the entire apparatus that they're using. Because right now, get rid of ICE, well, that money just flows to a different department,
Right.
using the same justifications, using the same kind of training to abuse people of their constitutional rights and also maybe their lives.
Yeah.
Even the word Homeland Security freaks me out. You know, like it's just so un-American, Department of Homeland Security. You know, I want to move on to the midterms because I have a lot of questions for you about the FBI raid in Georgia this week. You know, the FBI raided Fulton County, Georgia elections operations center. They took voter rolls. They took all sorts of data, and it's part of this like continued. The 2020 election was stolen, and then on top of it, Tulsi Gabbard was there. There's like this weird picture of Tulsi Gabbard. You're on the House Intelligence Committee. What is the Director of National Intelligence doing at an FBI raid in the United States? Like, isn't her job out of the United States? Like, I really genuinely don't understand this.
Well, I think that I think that they're trying to set up a case, most likely. This is just me speculating, of that the election of 2020 was, of course, stolen. And what they're trying to probably do is paint a picture that it was malign influence, right? The only reason why you would get the Director of National Intelligence as well would be involved in this is if there's some foreign nexus, some, so that's my guess. But if that's the case, the committees of jurisdiction should have been briefed. This is also, I believe, a administration. I'm trying to pick my words carefully, is what's public or not. This is administration that doesn't believe in foreign malign influence in our federal elections or in our elections, period. It's something that they're not prioritizing. You can tell by their national security document. So it's that is a concern. So are they trying to say that there is some foreign influence in the 2020? That's why Trump lost. That's why Biden won. It's still there's so many different answers. I think Mark Warner, who's the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, mentioned the same thing. It just doesn't make sense. If it was a domestically fraudulent election, the intelligence community wouldn't be involved except through the FBI domestic intelligence, not foreign intelligence.
I have a question. You're actually, I've been to your office. Republicans and Democrats have offices right next to each other. So you're seeing these folks and interacting with them every single day, right? Without, betraying any confidences.
Yeah.
What is the tone of Republicans right now? Like, are they worried for their seats? Are they thinking like it's gone too far? Do they think like, you know what, Trump actually is a madman, Stephen Miller actually is a Nazi? Or are they really that bought into this?
I think they're that scared. I think they don't want to get out of line because they know that Donald Trump will just go after him. I mean, think about it. MAGA Barbie, MTG, was like the most committed. Remember, she started off as QAnon, pushing all these fucking conspiracy theory just out there, and then but committed to Donald Trump. All of a sudden, she's on the outs with Donald Trump, and instead of like facing a primary challenge, what does she do? She's like, I'm out. She could have won, but she would have spent all her $10 million cash on hand. And I think she just chose that it's not worth it. So if she can't stand up to Donald Trump, who has a national following, who had $10 million in the bank, who is as MAGA as they get, what do you think a rank and file Republican's going to do? They're not going to do anything. They're going to back away. And the only ones that seem to have any courage are the ones that are retiring, or not seeking re-election. So and that's what it is. I try to, like, even on traditional orthodoxy, remember Chip Roy, David Schweikert, they're all fucking deficit hawks. They're all talking about the debt over and over and over again. But what did they do when it came to one big beautiful bill that blew up the the debt eyes. They're a bunch of little bitches. That's what they are, because they can't even, they can't live. They don't live up to their own values.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Hell
literally,
yeah.
It's like the goalpost keeps moving for them. They're like, well, I mean, actually, like it's like every time, yeah.
In ways and means, we had a hearing. I said, when are you guys going to act like Republicans? Like, he goes against free trade. He goes against, deficit spending. He goes against all the federal government. The federal government bought a stake in Intel, and the Republicans threw a fit when the federal government bailed out all the banks. Remember, that was the loans. Remember, in TARP, they threw a fit. They were like, they weren't going to vote along with it. But now they can buy stakes in Intel and all these, they're not Republicans. They're, as I call them, Trumpistas. They just do whatever Trump wants when he wants. That's it. Like, as
all
long
these
as Trump,
don't tread on me Republicans are suddenly tread right on my face.
Tread on me, daddy.
Tread on me, daddy. Yeah, they are fully, with all these, with ICE, I'm like, wasn't your whole thing right to bear arms so that a tyrannical government can't come into your home and city, and now all of a sudden searchless warrants, you're not allowed to carry a gun to a protest? Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy.
Yeah. So the Republicans, even when you bring it up to them, they don't really even want to talk about it, because they should, because they're probably ashamed of themselves. And some of them are, right?
Right? Well, Representative Gomez, we're grateful to have you here. Thank you so much for jumping on and sharing. Whether you make it to the Melania talk or not this weekend, we hope you have a great weekend. And thank you. And come back soon.
You guys should have a watch party, and then just do the commentary as you're watching it. I'm not sure if you remember those. I don't know. I'm a little older than you, but they used to do these watch a movie and they'd give a commentary back in the day. Do you guys kind of remember that?
Like on the DVDs.
Mystery Science. Mystery Science. Listen, you're with a bunch of nerds.
I should have done this years ago, but this morning I woke up and I canceled my Prime subscription, so I can't watch the Melania doc. Unfortunately for her, this morning I woke up and I was like, you know what, I gotta do something, and that was the first thing that I could reach to. So unfortunately,
we'll rip it. We'll just no. We have a lawmaker here. We won't rip it. We won't do that.
All right,
Representative Gomez, thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Wow. Well, we gotta wrap quick today because people are on them. We are booked and busy. And Mrs. Frazzled, there's a lot going on, but I gotta ask you, what's having a moment for you?
Honestly, House Democrats are having a moment for me, because I just consistently for a while have loved the way they speak about the Senate is the way that I feel about the Senate. And over, Jeffries, we have our feelings about him, but broadly, I'm like, wow, thank you for making me feel like I'm not taking fucking crazy pills all the time.
We've had a couple, not to be like a stan, but I hear people be like the do nothing Democrats, and I'm like, we've had Yasmin Ansari, Summer Lee, Ro Khanna. We've had people that and Representative Jimmy Gomez who come on and say the real thing.
Did you see Ilhan
swear up? Ilhan, yeah.
I was like, let's go.
Yeah. There are fighters out there, and they are all in the House.
Well, you know what, Mrs. Frazzled, you are fighting the good fight every single day. We know you have a hard stop, so we'll have you jump off, and then Rebecca and I will wrap this bad boy.
Love you. Bye.
All right. Bye, y'all. We miss her already. Wow, what a queen.
What a delight. I know. When she gave her unpopular opinion about the Senate, I was like, thank you. That's exactly, you said that very well. And that's exactly, it might be unpopular, but it's also my opinion.
No, I don't think it's unpopular. I mean, I think it's just, it's not the 2-week thing and the not doing it. It's a tiny, it could be worse, right? We could have passed it. So that's, I guess,
it could be worse, but it's under the circumstances, and she's right. It's 7 Democrats. Did you see Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez's video defending why she voted for the DHS funding before Alex Preddy?
Is that the one I call it? I said the Ashton and Mila apology walked so this video could run because she's like dressed shitty. She looks like a mess and she's in front of a shed and she's like, you guys, like, you don't even fucking get it. Okay. Like, it is literally, I'm like, what did you get in? You were like, let me Pinterest the Ashton and Mila video. They are the same video. Watch them, guys.
It's so funny. I didn't pick that up, but that's all that needs to be said about it. And it's like the same energy where it's like,
exactly. Where it's like blaming us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the other thing. We get blamed. Like, that's the other thing. You work for us. We offer you feedback on your jobs, and then you guys get mad at us when I'm your boss. So, Rebecca, what's having a moment for you?
Okay, what's having a moment for me is that somebody yesterday, equipped with a pizza cutter, went cosplayed an FBI agent and tried to break Luigi Mangione out of federal prison.
I was like, pizza cutter is so on brand. Paisano.
I said to my friend, I was like, I would absolutely watch a 3-episode miniseries just tracking this guy who was like, got it in his head that he was going to be the one to break it out. And like, you know, like I could totally see like what's that director's name? The guy who did I, Tonya. Like I could see a version of that, you know. I just thought that was hilarious. But by the way, Luigi Mangione, it was announced today he will not be facing the death penalty. So at least we get a hint.
Because I don't believe in the death penalty, period.
I don't believe in the death penalty
at
period.
all. I even for people who, you know, I really believe have done horrible, horrible crimes. And I think that's like one of those things where Republicans really have a gotcha moment with the death penalty because they're like, protect all life. And then you're like, okay, well then let's, you know, get rid of the death penalty. And they're like, well, not like that.
Well, not like that. Speaking of protect all life, we didn't get into it in this show, but I spent a lot of time reading the Heritage Foundation's new proposal. They did Project 2025 and, you know, Trump has implemented a lot of it. And I spent a lot of time reading what is there now Project 2026. And like, boy, oh boy, do they want women to go back into the house. It is
Should we do a bonus episode on that? What if we went through it?
Yeah.
Because you know who read almost all of Project 2025?
It does not surprise me. And
like I would pick out these specific things from it, like pulling services from the national like weather reporting and stuff. And I would make videos about it and people would be like, they're not going to do that. You're an idiot, like blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, oh, tell that to the folks in Texas who lost their daughters. Okay.
Right. Like who it is.
Fuck you.
Yeah, we should do an extra. And I know like this is like now I'm like going off, but I'm like to see this come out at the same time that Usha Vance, Katie Miller, Caroline Levitt all are having a baby at the same time that Nicki Minaj is at the White House giving money for this new initiative where everybody gets $1,000 to have a baby. I just read this and I'm like, they are definitely going to try to do this. So we should do a bonus anyways.
Yeah. People are in the chatter saying to do a bonus. We'll do a bonus.
We will. We definitely will. What's having a moment for you, babe?
You know, I just saw this video from my frenemy, Katie Miller. You know, she has her podcast, which I bet she considers herself to be a journalist. Like I guarantee you she thinks that's journalistic. Yeah, I think so. Cause like, I just think like, you know, if she had to put I don't think she's like, I think
you wouldn't say like, I'm a propagandist. Yeah.
Or I'm a creator. I think that would be considered like too lowly for her.
Right. Yeah.
And I saw this clip that she posted it right after the announcement of Don Lemon being arrested. And basically it was her talking to Nicki Minaj on her podcast. And she was like, hey, you know, what do you have to, you've been calling out Don Lemon. What do you have to say? And it's like the idea that this government isn't like, because what they'll try to say is they're like, oh, well, we're just arresting him for what he did in Minneapolis, right? Like it's not because of ties to the government. It's not because of this. But when I see clips of Katie Miller putting this out like seconds after the announcement, I'm like, this is why it is intrinsically linked. This is why they are targeting journalists. Like if someone does something illegal, if a journalist like did something that was dangerous to another person or something, like, yeah, they should be held accountable, right? Like, so, but that's not what this was. And so, but what she did was she asked Nicki Minaj, like, what do you have to say to him? And Nicki Minaj called Don Lemon a cocksucker. Yeah, you know what? Let's play the clip because then I have something to say. It's 24 seconds.
Yeah, I haven't seen this.
Okay. Thank you.
For Don Lemon's arrest over his church stunt in Minneapolis, he's since called you racist, unhinged, homophobic, and out of your depth. Anything you'd like to say to Don Lemon?
Cocksucker, stop.
So, this is just a friendly reminder that being gay, being a member of the LGBTQIA plus community is considered an insult in this White House.
Of course it is.
And like, but they would say it isn't. They would say, but like, you just weaponized his sexuality. Like,
yeah, totally.
And you laughed at it, Katie. And so it's like, I mean, it's so gross and unprofessional, but it's just such a reminder. And like, to your point about Project 2026, like I've heard that there's like, you know, the real attack against gay marriage is in there.
I read it and I was like, there's no way they're not going to find a case to go after Obergefell. Like there's just no way that they're not going to at least try to overturn same-sex marriage. There's no doubt in my mind that they are not going to try that.
And what really bothered me about this clip is like one of the things that like, you know, a Katie Miller will say is like, well, I'm trying to like bring back like American values and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, it's like middle school 90s bullying to use being gay as an insult. And that's what that just was. Like, it's one thing, like Nicki Minaj could have been like, you're a fucking dumbass. You're a shitty journalist. I don't like you.
Those were words very, very clearly.
Right. And so it's like, but no, you go after his sexuality because you have nothing. You have nothing. And B, being gay is an insult to you.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway,
it's really like, you know, I'm grateful to be here with you. I'm grateful every time we do this show. I feel a little bit better because I'm like, they haven't come to my house yet, but like, my God, every day I really like, it's awful. You know, take care of yourselves, audience. Like it is a nonstop barrage on purpose to drive us crazy and to drive us into complacency, to get us to a place where we're like, there's nothing I can do. I can't vote this out. I can't protest this out. I can't boycott this out. And like, that is simply untrue. Like we've gotten through bad things before and we're going to get through it again. So fuck these people.
Life finds a way, baby. You guys come back on Tuesday. We'll be back. And make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. It's linked in the bio of my TikTok, on my Instagram, all the places you see our faces. We're really trying to grow the Instagram. I made a video yesterday, Rebecca. I think you saw it, about how I turned down a $50,000 brand deal. And so like one of the things was like, hey guys, if you could just help me out and subscribe to my YouTube, that would be really helpful. Subscribe to the Moment YouTube. And someone reached out to me today and they're like, so you turned down the $50,000 and then you ask us for money. And I was like, Ginny, just so we're clear, the YouTube is free, my love. The YouTube is free. I don't make a dime off of it. So anyway, come on down to themomentshow.com. Takes you to all the places where you see our faces. We'll be back on Tuesday. We have a fantastic guest. We have Senator Tina Smith from the great state of Minnesota. So we're going to have a lot of questions for her. And Rebecca, anything else for the good of the order?
No, I mean, just like take care of one another. I think, you know, there's all these calls for strikes and whatnot, and like just anything that you can do, you know, to be out there in whatever way you can be out there. And like, there's a million ways to do it. And like, let's not criticize anybody for doing it differently than you want to do it. Just like, we're all in it together. I really do believe that we are.
Can I just say, like, if you see someone working today, like, don't fucking give them a hard time.
Give him a break.
Give him a fucking break. Okay. Like we're all doing, like, I really respect the strike and I'm excited for the fact that we're moving in that direction, but like, it's not the same as Meredith criticizing Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right. Give
Yeah.
a cash tip, shop small, shop local, or if you're doing the strike, awesome, go off.
Yeah,
But
totally.
don't like bully a small business.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's plenty of mutual aid to send to. I sent to like somebody who was paying for like vendors here in LA. This morning I woke up and like I said, I should have done this a long time ago, but I canceled my Prime membership. I was like, I can't stomach this for one more freaking second. Like, it's going to be a process, and we're like weirdly at the beginning of this still. So like, take care of one another, pace yourselves, do something.
Peace out, guys.
Bye.